last night and all that stuff that they weren't happy with it. You know what I mean? So they went out there and handled business, and it was really just seeing how they're taking ownership of it. I mean, just hey, let me see how you guys are gonna handle this. So they went out there and competed, and it was good to watch them run.
What was the breakdown on that run play in overtime?
Yeah, just a misassignment. You know, it's funny. We the very first play of the game was the same defensive call, kind of similar run in there, and it goes for 2 yards or something like that. So we just have a mental breakdown. You know what I mean? And we got the ball viced inside. We don't have the ball viced outside, and it goes in there. So that should have been a 2 or 3 yard gain. It wasn't. So, you know, again, you go back and look at it and taking ownership of it. You know, maybe I didn't show it to him enough, that exact run against that exact defense and stuff, but just a mental bust.
And then the pass play, was that a mental bust?
Yeah, you know, that's you know 100% on me. The guys will tell you that's on them and all that stuff, but that's on me. You know, they had a really good goal line scheme. We didn't show them where they run out to the line of scrimmage, and they had the big body, and then he was going back and forth between 75 and 94, and you know, didn't spot him, so they didn't cover him on the 4th and 2. Should have been our ball. And then on the goal line, they ran up and they hid their wide receiver right up behind the center, and then they snuck him out there. And Gift saw him, and he got picked. You know, so again, good scheme by them. Did not show them all the trickeration down there in the goal line. So when that stuff happens, you know, the first person to blame is myself. You know, for not showing that exact look, but. You know, it's now how are we going to respond to those things, because you put it on tape, so now you're going to see that kind of stuff. So you can bet we're working on that stuff.
How is getting off the field on 3rd and 4th down something you guys can work on in practice? I mean, is it a thing you can work on, or is it just kind of like teachable moments, stay in your assignments?
No, 100%. Great question. You know, if you go back, if you look at the first half, right, you coming out, and I didn't like the flipping of the field.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but when we went in at halftime and looked, you know, they had 30-something yards or whatever it was, 30-something yards rushing or 40 yards rushing or something like that. And so when you looked at it, they couldn't run the ball when we said, hey, we know you're running the ball. We're putting guys up in there. You can't run the ball. Then, and what was happening, though, was the 3rd downs. We weren't getting off the field on the 3rd down, so the 3rd down plan wasn't coordinated well enough by myself. With the rush and the back end, you know what I mean? You saw some things where we were getting home, but the coverage wasn't in the right spot, and then vice versa. And then in the second half, what we tried to do is affect the quarterback a little bit more and go after the quarterback, and so it opened up some of those seams for those runs.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it was really the 3rd downs and the dang goal line trickeration down there. But again, that's on me for not drilling it with those guys, so that way they knew what was coming and all that stuff. So you know, gotta start over again.
What do you find, Tony, that you can do in a situation like that when you get an extra 24 hours after, especially after one? There's probably a lot of teaching.
Yeah, you're back up in here right away. You know, you can't sleep at all, and then you come back and you say, how does this not beat you again? You know what I mean? Like you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna get schemed up a little bit here and there. So now it's like, okay, what did they see? Why did they see it? And how do we prevent stuff like that from happening again? And you go back through your whole process and say, okay, you know, did we work enough, you know, goal line passes last week? Okay, well, maybe we didn't. So now you work on goal line passes even more so. You know what I mean, 3rd downs wasn't coordinated enough. So now it's okay, emphasis on 3rd downs even more so. You know what I mean? So you're going back through and looking at the process and making sure that you're doing what you need to do to make sure that the guys are in those positions to make plays in the game.
How did you guys take the reality that, especially the second half of that game, that they weren't the more physical team?
Yeah, you know, again, that's why they went out there today and wanted to compete. You know, that was the thing. And again, you know, I know there's a lot to it, but you know, I put it on myself because, you know, you're calling the game in the first half and you're telling them, hey, you guys are going to run the ball, and they're not running the ball. I mean, they're not running the ball. It was really the 3rd downs that kept flipping the field and kept them on there in all the plays and stuff after that first drive touchdown. And then, you know, you change it and say, hey, let me go after the quarterback a little bit more, and all those seams open up, and now you're like, okay, you know, now you're kind of playing chess with the guy and stuff like that. So, you know, half of that is on me, and then half of it is making sure that, again, we put those guys in those positions to go make plays, and that we got to give them the confidence to go out there and play, man. You know, they're not going to always be 100%, but the prideful thing about that is guys play so damn hard and so damn physical that they make up for those errors. You know what I mean? It just didn't feel like that chip on the shoulder, that edge was there like that. So.
Where does tackling maybe rank on the list of issues that cropped up last week?
Yeah, same deal. You know, again, you see, coach says, you know, tracking their hip, dominant contact. I mean, that showed up consistently. You know what I mean? And it's guys just not cutting loose. You know, they have a guy lined up, and you know they don't quite trust it, so then they start trying to cut a guy off, and then the guy cuts back on you and gains an extra 4, 5, 6 yards. You know what I mean? So just all things that you got to go back and say, are we working at enough? Are we emphasizing it enough? And are we demanding it enough? And so, you know, we started yesterday, and with the emphasis on trying to fix those things.
Mark, you said right after the game, guys have to do their 111. Did you see guys do some uncharacteristic stuff where maybe they got a little outside of their job?
No, I think it was just, again, the execution. Like I said, the first play of the game gets the same call, 1 or 2 yard game. You know what I mean? They come back, run very similar run in overtime, and it's for 20 something yards. You know what I mean? It's just the consistency of execution. I mean, and coach has laid down 3 things that he just wants this team to play with. You know, he wants to take the ball away. We want to be the most physical team, and we want to execute. I mean, and so when you don't do 2 of those things, it's going to be hard to play good defensive football, especially with what the guys are doing on offense. You know, we got the freshman QB over there balling his ass off. You know what I mean? You score 24 points, you need to help his ass. You know what I mean? So that's on the defense. You know?
You got a sense of if Tommy can be available this weekend, but also Sayer, how he did in his plays on Friday.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I give credit to Tommy. He's as tough as they come, because that happened. It happened, and we saw it. And you know, he tried to tape it up, tried to put a foot in sole, tried to change his shoes, whatever it was. Like, he did all these things and went out there, and you could see after the first series, like, okay, he's not right, but he didn't want to come out. And then you throw Sierra in there, and that's a great story of a guy preparing to play and getting his chance. And I thought he was probably one of the most competitive guys on the field that night, period. Like, he wanted it. He was up in guys' faces. He was excited. You know, the third down, they called him for a PI, and it was like, hey, man, you gonna play like that? We'll take that stuff, man. You get up and challenge and compete. So it was good to see him do it. Now it's a new week. Got to start that whole process over, and we'll see where Tommy is. But it's good to know, you know, some of those guys like Sierra, they're preparing to play like a starter.
Does Riley Van Poppel factor into your lineup this week, or is he still on the 4-game path?
No, that's one up to coach, and then, you know, if he approaches us like that, to see where we're at with him. You know, there's some guys getting some valuable snaps. You know, when you're on the grass, you're a starter. It doesn't matter when you go out there, you're a starter. And so they're putting it on tape. So, you know, you're trying to evaluate the best combination of guys that go in there. So he hasn't said anything yet about Van Pop, but you know, if he does, then we rock out with it.
What's the key to substitute a lot up front? You know, not just this year, but for 16 games. Does Illinois go in tempo, and some of the things that they were able to do against your front with the double that they were using? Does it? You have to look at the way that you're subbing, or how many too many, too little. Like, how do you react to the way that the sub patterns work against their offense?
No, I think they were okay. You know, that's funny what you say about the subs, because we're looking at the comparison between last year and this year, and if we're not subbing enough guys. I mean, if guys are playing too much, you know, and you go back and look, and like last year you had, you know, linebackers wise, you had Luke and you had Nick and you had all those guys and John. So guys were taking, you know, 30-ish reps, 35 reps, and then you go back and look now, and they're taking 40, 50, 60 reps. You know what I mean? So it's a deal where you wanna put guys in there who have trained a la Sierra, you know, who are prepared the right way and can go out there and perform. But also, you know, you wanna make sure you take snaps off of them early when you can, right? So that way, in critical moments, you got those guys as fresh as you can be. So we'll continue to look at that and stuff, but I don't think that was a problem as much on base D&D as maybe it was on third down. You know, make sure those guys.
At all back out there for anything rapid?
No, he's out there. I mean, he's doing everything like it. But you know, we'll see if he's going to go or not. You know, that's a delicate matter right there. So it's a matter if the doc gives you a thumbs up or a thumbs down. You know?
What's the key to stopping Purdue's run offense, and,
Yeah.
and how crucial will that be Saturday?
They're really good. I mean, their backs are really good. You know, and their line is really athletic and they can move. So you know, we gotta present different angles on them, different challenges. You know what I mean? Like, and the crazy thing is they love the outside zones and stuff. But he's athletic enough to if you give him the edge, he'll take it around the edge and gain 40. But also, you know, he has really good vision where he sees a crease and he'll plant a foot in the ground and he'll cut it back against you. So it's gonna be a challenge for us to make sure that we have edges set when we want those set, and then to run the ball down when he's going sideways.
Hey Tony, in past weeks you've said on Tuesday it's a hard reset. We don't worry about last week. After what you saw on Friday, how much of it is that? How much of it is making sure these guys are thinking of that as they prep?
Yeah, that's another great question right there. That's you know, it's just human nature to feel some kind of way, you know, when you play like that. But coach, again, you know, you're always around coaching. You always, if you're truly listening, you always getting the wisdoms. You know, that you're listening to it like a player, and it truly is like, hey man, we're trying to go 1-0, you know, and you have a point of emphasis to fix and improve, and all you do is focus on that, and make sure that you bring the kind of energy that you want the players to have, you know, moving forward towards Purdue. I mean, again, this is a new challenge. Everything is there. And the guys went out there and practiced their tail off today, so we're just gonna go 1-0 and just gonna go.
That corner blitz with Sierra, how risky of a call is that, Tony? And how do you know when to let that thing go?
That's normal. You know, that like sometimes that's an automated response by either like a formation or like a down and distance and stuff. And so, you know, he saw it and he was aggressive. You know what I mean? And the crazy thing is like it was an RPO, so he pulled it back, and you could see Sierra trigger, and he kind of looked, and then he kept on going. Where some guys might trigger and then stop and say pass and drop. He just kept going, and so it was a big time play. You know, it was fun to watch him do that.
Did you guys blitz more? And however you would determine that, if it's, you know, sending more than 4. How did that look from your perspective as far as the amount of frequency that you were got in that game?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you knew they were going to run the ball. So again, the first plan is to go out there and make sure they knew that they can't run the ball on you. And so at the spots we felt like, hey, they're running the ball, we were mixing up the looks and bringing extra guys and stuff. And again, you know, they got whatever it was, 40 yards at the half or something like that. And then just went away from that and try to affect the quarterback a little bit more and get in the rhythm for third downs a little bit more. And like I said, a couple of those runs sliced up in there, and then had some MAs and all that stuff. So definitely, you know, started mixing it up a little bit more.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you.